Yeah, I think, because I'm only a sophomore, this is only my second year. I started last year. If I would have gone to, I think, Expo last year, I think I would have gotten more confused, because it's taking baby steps. You start on your props. I started in X Lights. I designed what I wanted to do. And then, of course, I changed it 30 more times as I was ordering, props. And then getting into the controllers, and I run a Raspberry Pi through an unmanaged switch. So I was set on the direction I wanted to go by the time Expo was coming around. And being new last year, I didn't want to put myself, kind of the same thing Daniel's saying, into that situation where it's going to change my whole perspective or my whole thinking of how I wanted to do my show. So, and I think minis are a awesome start. I mean, they're not close to me, but I went to the Heartland Mini this past spring. I learned a ton. It was awesome. Absolutely had a blast. And then now I'm going down to SoCal, and I know I'm going to learn a ton down there, and of course the plus in meeting people in that area. And it gives you an avenue to ask for help. If you're not, huge in the tank or in the official X Lights support group, or you don't like getting on there, ask a question at a mini. That's what they're there for.
Yeah, I agree. Minis are great for beginners. I think they are like essential thing you need to do first before you go and get yourself overwhelmed at a big conference. What about you, Keith?
You know what? I don't have a really good reason why I never have gone. I've been doing this. This is going to be my 5th season, and I've always kind of known about the expo from a distance. I guess maybe that's the problem. It was always in a distance. And I've always kind of been a wallflower with this hobby, just kind of staying to the side, looking in. This is my first year kind of coming out and being more active in the community, very vocal. I got to thank you, JR, actually. And you bring that out, and the fact that, I think part of it was kind of going down to that first mini, which was the SoCal Mini before our Northern California Mini, which again, I could have gone to a few of those ones too. It just never really worked out time-wise. So, the time is right now. So start with Trans World. And, maybe Expo in 2019, we'll see. I'm just super excited about, all these kind of classes that are available in both of these events, and also the people. I think for Expo especially, you hit the nail on the head. I think it was you, Clyde, that you said that one of the biggest attractions of the Expo is meeting the people, the friends, the people that we always kind of communicate with, these little Zoom calls and stuff all the time, and actually putting that face, right there and shaking the hand, giving a hug in Brian's case, hell yeah. And so that's, I'm really excited for that. And that's going to be my biggest drawing point to all these events going forward.
And then my reason, because I've never been to Expo, is honestly, till last year, I didn't even know Expo existed. I've been doing lights for 10 years. Kind of my own little thing, figuring it out on my own stuff. And then I started joining these groups, and then I found out there's actually a Christmas Expo, and I couldn't make Texas work because it just, when I found out about everything, it was too close and it was just not going to happen. And this year I didn't go because I'm going to Florida in the end of January, February for a Disney World trip, and I couldn't do the Florida twice and so close. So that is why I didn't go. But I will eventually check out Expo. It's on my list of things to do.
That's a great point. So I've been in the hobby now since going on 12 years, over 12. I've been in the hobby for, to be sure, 15 or 20 years because I've decorated, but to go animated, it's been 12 years, and things have changed so much. And when I started, it was a forum community. Now I'm probably, maybe Carl can kind of explain. Carl, I'm curious, how long have you been doing like the animated type lighting?
I started the animated lighting in 2010, so this would be my, 9th year.
So you're nestled in just under the amount of years that I have. Mm-hmm. And Jay, how long have you been doing it?
This will be my 4th year.
So I guess it's kind of safe to assume that I've been doing it longer than most of you. I'm not. The reason I say this is because what JR said, what he just said, he just went through this and he said, I had been doing this for so long and I had no clue that there was this thing. And I can relate to that very heavily because in 2007, I saw on the Christmas, what was it? The Christmas forums, which was Planet Christmas. That's what it was. The big one was Planet Christmas. And then if you were into LOR, you went to the LOR forums. So Planet Christmas, you learned about the Plus, PLUS, which is where Expo was derived from. And Chuck Smith, who is like the father of the whole animated lighting type thing with LOR and all that stuff. I don't know the whole backstory, but he created a huge display and so forth. And long story short, I saw that people got together and I'm like, why do people get together over Christmas lights? That doesn't make any sense to me. And then I started learning about animation and figuring out how to do it. And my first year came and went and I put it all away and I didn't open it back up until October of the next year. And I lived my life. And October of the next year came and I set everything up and I put my display together and I put it away. And then the next year I joined the military and I didn't put my lights up until I got home from the military, like 5 days before Christmas. And I wasn't in the community then. So once again, I put all my lights away, year number 3. And so probably about 2011 or 2011 is whenever I finally could get back to normal. I had a lot of work done on the house. And that's whenever I started seeing more activity in the forums. And that's whenever I started reading about Christmas Expo. And that was the place to go. So if you've been in just like you have, Keith, for how many years you've been doing it and you never thought to go, or you knew it was there, or you never considered going. I never went to my first meetup, or it was AC/DC over in Carmel, Indiana in 2013. And that meetup, that mini really changed a lot of how I perceive the community to be. Then Facebook groups started opening up. I mean, there was no Facebook groups that were anything related to the way we are with Christmas. And now we have this thriving community that just generates so much excitement now. So look at the Zoom room. There's the 8 of us in a Zoom room right now. This wouldn't have happened 10 years ago.
I don't think it would have happened even 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. I mean, it would not like this.
So I guess the real question, Clyde, is are you actually Team Vinny or Team JR?
Oh, wow.
Throwing that out there.
Keep asking everybody.
Man.
I always, you know what? There's only one thing about Team JR that I dislike, and the fact that he is standard units, not metric. But other than that, I'm Team JR.
Okay, backtrack. See, at Expo, after a couple of
I did say that. I won't take that back.
He was quickly Team.
Here's the thing.
I said I'm going to have to rethink it, and I did rethink it.
David was Team JR too, but all of a sudden he's getting Vinny to come to the SoCal Mini, so he's Team Vinny and trying to convert everybody over else to Team Vinny. So I hate to say it, Vinny, but once you come to SoCal, I'm pretty sure David's coming back to the team. But I think
actually I do have a shirt with your name on it and not him, so I guess
that's awesome. Yep, it's true.
I was just looking at those on Cool Tees. So I had one more.
Okay, go ahead.
Question to kind of throw out there. I didn't know if you were going to wrap up, and I know we got 5 Californians on here, Washington, 1 PA, Montana. Where do you guys want to see Expo next year?
California would make it real easy.
I'm thinking West. California?
I'll make it simple. Colorado would be nice too.
Yeah, I was going to say Denver. I think Denver is actually.
And I was going to say Denver's one of the ones that I would suggest too. California, West Coast, Washington, Oregon, Idaho for Expo.
I think it's too far
It'll
west.
never happen. They've stated it, and the vendors won't come out.
The big thing is the vendors and getting the vendors there, and look at who your vendors are. They're 90% of them, 80% of them are on the East Coast or in Central US. So for them to travel and to pack, and I mean, just think about what Boscoyo had to do to get all the orders there to Expo and all the stuff that he used to bring. And I mean, that's a lot of work to set all. It's a lot of work to set up the booth. So I would love to see it. I agree. Maybe in Colorado, I think that would be a really neat place to have it. If it was more centralized, like maybe if it was near St. Louis, we'll say. I mean, that's kind of like the
humidity. That's all I gotta say. Humidity.
Yeah, it was brutal.
It wasn't even that bad.
Oh my gosh, Clyde. Serious.
It was worse. Hey, it was worse back home. I left and we had like 100-degree temperatures up here. It was great. And I was down there. It was only like 85
so everybody knows,
or 90.
I was in Denver Expo weekend, and it was pretty hot. Just saying.
Denver gets hot and Denver gets humid.
It was pretty hot.
It still comes to me there.
But I think that's a good point, right? I mean, flying in and out of there and being able to get there, it's a major hub. So it would be easy for people to get in and out of. I agree. Whereas Orlando, you're right. Orlando, I mean, a lot of folks didn't go just because of where it was. So yeah, I'd do Denver.
Yeah, I like Denver.
And actually, it was in Daytona, and was there 2 airlines that fly into Daytona? So most everybody had to fly into Orlando.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they should keep it close to major airports to make it easier too. My 2 cents for them.
Well, I will say that it was kind of smart because there was a lot of things in Daytona to go do. So having, I mean, yeah, you could go to Orlando, sure, and Disney World's real close to Orlando. But I think that they picked a good, decent location. Yes, I agree that I had to go to the airport and that was pretty far away. But you know, on the scheme of the whole trip, the trip from the airport to Orlando was what an hour. So yeah. I wouldn't let that hold me back.
And Denver's a good half hour to get to its airport. But I think I think this is a good episode about both shows. Everybody kind of can make their own decision on what they want to do.
Frankly, I'm excited to go to both.
Yeah, I'm probably going to try to go to both next year, depending on where Expo is. I'm definitely going to Transworld. I already got my room. Keep looking for flights. So, Ryan, what is your pick for next year?
I'm definitely going to Transworld. I already got the room and looking at flights for that. Trying to work around the Heartland Mini so I can make it a family trip, a little bit longer trip. Because my mom and family, I'm originally from Kansas, so my mom lives in Olathe. So let them hang out. But right now it's onto the SoCal Mini and then Transworld next year. So, and depending on where, if it's in Denver, I'm a go because that's 12 hours straight down the road. And I've traveled the 15 many times. So.
Yeah, I think Transworld's a no-brainer for me this year. Got the hotel, plane tickets just a day away. I'm ready for that. Expo, I think it's a location thing. Once that's kind of announced, I think that'll make my final decision for that. But the people, I think I really want to meet everyone. I think that's going to be the venue that you're going to see everyone, at least for the next couple of years. It's going to be the one to go to see everyone. But I'm really excited for Transworld too.
Jay?
Possibly Transworld, just haven't made a decision yet, and possibly Expo based on location. In regards to the location this year, my situation was my wife and children went with me. So we were a family of 6, and we actually used Daytona Beach and then stayed in Orlando for another 3 days and hit the theme parks. So this year, Expo was actually an excuse for a family to take a vacation to where we had never been.
That's always a plus. That works well.
And then depending on where they are next year, we'll see.
Daniel?
Probably Transworld because it's